Hello, we're a week and a half into the first month of 2022 and I'm finally going to start my 12 challenge. Since you'll probably be watching this months and months into the future, you might not remember, but the 12 challenge is a challenge where you read 12 books recommended to you by 12 different people, and I've decided I'm going to vlog it. I don't know exactly the format of this vlog. I think I'm going to let you know what I'm reading, some impressions, but I'm not going to stop super often along the way to give you updates. I think I'm just going to let you know when I started it, when I finished it, what I thought about it, those types of things. This also just seems like a super long-form project, and I'm excited about that. First on my list, because I was able to get it as an e-copy from my library, is I Hope We Choose Love. This was recommended to me by Joss over at Yogi with a Book, and I'm excited to get into this because I've actually read a novel by this author before that's kind of a mixture between a novel and a memoir, sort of. It was weird, but I liked it. The subtitle of this book is A Trans Girl's Notes from the End of the World, and I'm gonna start that now. Okay, so I see we're starting this challenge off with a bang because this book was absolutely phenomenal. The format of this book is essay, poem, and it just continues like that, and it brings up a lot of interesting and important and intriguing topics. There are several trigger warnings, so be sure to look those up ahead of time if that's something that pertains to you, but oh my goodness, this was such an important read about queer people of color, specifically trans women, and I'm gonna be thinking about this for a long time. I might actually need to buy myself a copy of this so I can highlight it and all of those types of things. To keep this ball rolling, I am now going to go on to another suggestion, which is His Only Wife. This one is an audiobook. I believe it's about 9 hours, so I should see you hopefully within the next few days if I remember to listen to my audiobook. I should also note that I didn't really make any stipulations. I just asked people to recommend a book to me. I didn't give any genres. I didn't give any, it has to be this age group, anything like that. So a lot of these books I've never heard of before, or I have no idea what they are, and this is one of those. So I started His Only Wife yesterday, and I'm only a couple of chapters in. It's interesting so far. It's about this woman in Ghana who has basically an arranged marriage. It's not quite an arranged marriage, but basically this family helped out her family, and that family basically asked her mother if they could have an arranged marriage type of situation so that they could try to get this other girl out of their son's life. So even though he wasn't there, they're married now, which is weird, which is an interesting thing because you can get married and you can get legal married on paper, and those are separate things. So it's all about her trying to navigate this new life where she doesn't really even understand what her life is going to look like. Basically, just this family wants this son of theirs to get rid of this woman that he's been seeing. So I'm gonna keep listening and find out as she goes, basically. Hi, I forgot to pop in the other day. I finished His Only Wife on the 15th and I really enjoyed it. There were a lot of characters that make you want to shake your head and be very annoyed on behalf of the protagonist, and I very much enjoyed how it ended. It was great. I also picked up an interlibrary loan for one of my other books, which I will eventually start reading. I have a couple of other physical books I need to read before then. Back when I still worked at the library and I worked in cataloging and technical services, aka CATS, it's actually my job to put the stickers on these books. Interlibrary loan stickers. Gotta leave this little bit under there so the sticker is easier to get off, but this is another one of the books that I'll be reading hopefully soon. I like their little dragon stickers. We don't have those. Hello, it's nighttime and other people around, so I'm gonna make this quick, but I'm just about to start Momo, which I got as an interlibrary loan from a different library system in BC, so I'm excited to start. Also, I used to work in the interlibrary loan system, and I know that Loretta would be horrified that I moved the sticker to the back so I could show you the cover properly. But I did it anyway because I know how to do it safely. All I know about this is it's translated from German, and this guy also wrote The Neverending Story, which is a movie series I have not seen since I was a small child. Hey, I just wanted to give an update about Momo. I'm reading it and enjoying it. I really enjoy especially that this is a very anti-capitalist book. It's all about this little girl who moves into this ruined amphitheater, and the people in the town kind of befriend her, and like she's a great listener and all that type of thing, but then there's these gray men that come to town and they work for the time-saving bank, and it's all about like cutting time costs by cutting things out of your life that you shouldn't be doing, but really it's actually like the things that make life livable. And now they're trying to find Momo because like she's the only person that met one of them and then remembered it. And yeah, this is really fascinating so far. I'm very much enjoying it. Hello, I have finished Momo, and overall I enjoyed it. There were bits that I kind of had to slog through. I was a little bit less interested and I just kind of wanted to see how it would end. But it's a pretty good kid's story. Also, you're probably wondering where the hell I am. I'm on vacation, and if you can hear the ocean, that's because it's literally right outside this window. So I'm gonna make this brief because I have some scotch to drink, because as I'm recording this, it's Robbie Burns Day, and also some crumble to eat, because that is what we decided to have for dinner, because we're adults and we can do what we want. Hello, we're back for book 4. I have 11 Thumbs in the Gateway to Food. This was recommended to me by my friend Anna, and I got it as an interlibrary loan, which means I need to read it sooner rather than later because I cannot renew it. So even though I have a huge TBR for February, I need to read this right now, even though February is just about to start. What I like about this library system is they actually put that it's book 1 of a series on the front of it, which is super helpful. There's at least 3 books in this series based on the back, and I love when libraries let you know these types of things ahead of time. They even put it on the spine, which is super helpful. I know it says it on the book, but not all books do that, and I like it. Hi, I keep forgetting to update you about 11 Thumps, but a couple of things of note in this book. One, it's from 2005, so there's a lot of characters that are described as fat, as though that's a bad thing, and they're usually like the bad characters because every parental figure in this so far has been a jackass, so that's a thing to note. However, it's very, very funny and very creative, and the magic is super weird, and I really like it for that. Hello! Today I've started the 5th book in my challenge, which is Rise to the Sun by Leah Johnson. This is one of the books that I already knew I wanted to read, so I was just really happy that somebody recommended it, and I was able to get 11 out of 12 of these books through my library. The 12th one was written by a friend of a friend, and I bought it on Kindle because why not? So in case I haven't mentioned that at any other point, I'm just very excited that I was able to do this challenge basically very, very cheaply. That being said, I now need to go to the library because I need to return some library books. And yeah, so I'm gonna go do that, and I'm gonna listen to the book while I do it. Hello, I just finished the audiobook of Rise to the Sun and enjoyed it. There's definitely a mixture of happiness and sadness in this book, so if you're looking for a happy contemporary that's only ever happy, that's not what you're gonna get. You are going to get some deeper topics. Also, one of the characters is actually just kind of the worst when it comes to her best friend, and that can be a hard thing to watch. However, obviously there's gonna be some character growth. Whether or not it's enough for you or if it makes up for it, that's for you to decide as you're reading it. I also had a hold come in for another audiobook, but I've got a couple of audiobooks to get to before I get to that one, so I will be continuing this shortly, hopefully. Hi, I started reading Gearbreakers the other day as an audiobook and completely forgot to update you for that, so I'm doing that now. I'm not very far through, I think about 30% of the way through, and I'm enjoying it so far. I like that we have 2 different characters who are seemingly on different sides of a conflict, but one of them seems to be on the same side as the other one, just was forced into a way of life, so it's interesting so far. I don't know if it's going to be an absolute favorite, but I haven't read it all, so what do I know? And I think that's mostly because I'm just kind of tapped out with war and fighting and that type of thing right now. That being said, I'm sure it's going to be an interesting story. Hi, I'm just about to do a live with Beck for the Rent Readathon, our last one of the readathon, but I thought I'd stop in and tell you that I finished Gearbreakers. Overall, I really enjoyed the writing, I enjoy the characters, I want to know what happens next. However, considering the fact that Russia is bombing the heck out of Ukraine right now, and Israel and Palestine are still fighting, and The whole world is a little bit on fire. It's really not the most fun time to read about wars. So I think that's kind of like why I was in my feels about like this maybe not being the best time for it. However, if I was reading it in like a very peaceful time, I would have enjoyed it probably better. I know that's a weird way to put it. I didn't not enjoy it, I just hated the fact that I was reading about war, if that makes any sense. Hi, welcome to a time jump. It's been a while since I did anything to do with the 12 challenge just because I've been waiting for holds to come in. I've been reading other things that have come in on hold and pushing things back. Also, I just finished doing a workout. That's why I look like this, obviously. Today, I'm going to start The Gamble. This is a book that was recommended to me by somebody on Twitter. I don't remember who. I will put things, and I know nothing about it. I didn't look up a synopsis. I don't know what genre it is, although I can make some guesses based on the cover, so I'm just gonna go into it not knowing anything. Hello, I'm out of the bath. I also didn't realize it was almost 10 o'clock when I decided to wash my hair, so now I have to stay up for like 2 hours because this isn't gonna dry. Looking at the cover, did you also guess that this was a romance book? Because this is definitely a romance book. I'm not complaining about it. I do have some minor gripes about it, but overall I'm enjoying the ride like you're supposed to. Hi, I figured I'd update you. I'm somewhere between like a third and a halfway through the book, and I'm enjoying it. There are certain things where I'm just like, boundaries are important, and things are going really, really fast. This also feels like it's a very, very long romance book. Like, I don't know what the official page count is because I'm reading it digitally, and that doesn't tell you like an official, like if it was a physical book type of page count, but it feels like it's a pretty long romance book, which is interesting as well. Also, there's a lot in the story and there's a lot of side characters that I actually care about, and there's this side mystery about a murder that I kind of care about. So even though there's things about the book that I'm like, I could really do without this, I am overall enjoying it. Hi, I realized that I finished the book a couple of days ago and didn't update you about it. I ended up really very much enjoying it. I do still have problems with the fact that Max has no boundaries, and when people say no, he doesn't just step back immediately. But this was really good, and I was right, it was way longer than any romance book I've ever read before because it was 629 pages. But we did have a mystery subplot, so it totally works, and it wasn't like I was going, oh, this book is long and I'm slogging through it. No, it needed all of those pages, and I very much enjoyed it. Hi, it's been a while since I've updated this vlog, mostly because I don't think the last time I talked to you I had taken up cross-stitching, and that's taken over my life. But I finally got a hold for one of the books that I need to read for this, so it's time to read it. This one I'm actually really worried to read, even though I know nothing about it. It's called Sons of Fortune. I'll show you the cover, and that's why I'm worried about it. I don't know what this is. It's going to be super patriotic, I'm going to be annoyed, and also the audiobook is like 16 hours long, so it's something I'm going to have to listen to for quite some time, so I'm hoping that I like it, because I know nothing about it, but it's something somebody put on this list, so here we go. So a bit of an update. I'm about an hour 40 into the audiobook, and this book is about two different families. One where the family got, like the mother and father got together and then they had twins, and then the other family where her grandfather or father, I can't remember, is like the guy who built the hospital, and then she's had a series of miscarriages, and then she finally has a live baby. However, that baby dies during the night, and their personal nurse switches one of the twins for her baby. So now we're watching these two different babies grow up in two different families, even though they're brothers, they're twins. The problem I'm having with it so far is their lives are very, very similar, to the point where they almost overlap, but they don't. So it's a little bit difficult to remember who's who and also care about who's who, because basically they're doing the same things. We've gotten to the point where it's their last year of high school and they're both running for senior class president. They both had the same crush on the same cheerleader when they first got to school, and all these different things. They're not at the same schools, but they're at rival schools, so they've like crossed paths technically at football games and things like that. And it's getting to the point where I'm just like, yes, they're very similar, I get it, twins are similar, but also you would think that they would be on two different life paths, and that's weird that they're not, because twins are not the same people. Hi, so yesterday I got through 5.5 hours of the audiobook, which means I'm 34% of the way through. So the weird thing about this is because they are living two separate lives, again, I am still kind of confusing who is who, except for now they've diverted a little bit, so it's a little bit easier to remember which one's which. They've both, I believe at this point, one of them is married and one of them, I believe, is about to get married, probably. He's in love with this girl and it's very, very cute, but at least at this point, like, they didn't both complete university. One of them stayed at university, one of them ended up going to the Vietnam War and then becoming a war hero. Like a super young war hero. Now he's back and the government is paying for him to go to university, and then he meets this girl and all of that, so there's all that. I'm really wondering if they're ever actually going to, like, actually cross paths and then maybe find out that they're related. I don't know. I don't know how this book is going to go, but this does span so much time that I could see it not doing that, and I don't know how that payoff is going to feel, but I'm going to keep doing my cross stitch and yeah, continue on and see what happens, I guess. Here's the update on my cross stitch. I did a bunch of green yesterday. I'm loving it. Hello, I finished it. They did finally meet each other. There was a whole big thing. They have a common enemy, so that part of it was really fun. I think my biggest problem with this is I didn't need to know everything in the last 43 years of their lives and, like, leading up to their lives, and I would have been happier, but I ended up very much enjoying it. Okay, here's a really weird update for the reading of Jade Legacy. I actually got this as an audiobook back in, I want to say, October. Could have been as early as late September, while we were on the road trip up to the Northwest Territories, and I was listening to it in the car with Chad. But when I'm listening to an audiobook with Chad, it has to be at 1x speed, and this audiobook is long, and there's a lot of characters, and there's a lot of political stuff that I really don't care for in books, so I've actually had it out from the library twice. I think we only have about an hour left. However, there is a holds list at the library, and there's a really good chance that I won't actually get the book before the year ends. It says I will get it in about 4 weeks, and about 4 weeks is next year. So if I get it before the end of the year, I can finish out my thoughts on it, but mostly my thoughts are, this is just not my type of book. I see why people would enjoy this, and I have enjoyed aspects of it. However, books that are just very heavily into the politics and this person has died so we need to replace them in this part of the organization and that type of stuff. That's just stuff that doesn't really appeal to me all that much. The magic system is kind of cool. The fact that they rely on jade and how you can get jade sickness and all of that is also interesting, but it's just in such a way that doesn't work for me personally, and that's totally a personal thing. I'm not saying it's a bad book, I'm just saying it's not a book that's for me. Hello, it's Friday night at about 6 p.m., although you wouldn't be able to tell it from the weather because it's been gray and gross all day and it feels like it's been night forever. However, I'm more than halfway through In Deeper Waters and I'm really enjoying it. I didn't know much going into it besides it wasn't a pirate book, despite what the cover might tell you. A lot of it does take place on ships, but there you are. I really enjoy the family dynamics. I'm so upset with what Tal has had to go through, and I totally knew what was going to be going on with the love interest and what the big secret there was. So that was fun when that finally came to fruition, because I remember a specific line being like, oh yeah, it wouldn't be something like made up things like this and this. And I was like, yeah, he's definitely that. I'm enjoying it. I also wanted to update now because we are getting a lot of wind and there's a good chance we'll lose power at some point. And if we lose power, I am going to stop reading. I actually kind of hope we lose power so I can stop reading and not feel bad about it. And with that, I finished In Deeper Waters, and it was lovely. I love the concept of a high fantasy fairy tale, and this was just so fun. I really loved going on this adventure and seeing how it was going to play out, and it was just such a lovely read. So I'm glad that this is how I'm finishing off the Queer Lit Readathon, because my eyes are tired. I know I have 2 more books, but they can wait till next week. Hello! The Queerly Readathon finished yesterday, and I've decided to ride this vlogging train that I'm currently on so I can maybe finish the 12 challenge. I'm going to start the 30 Names of Night. I don't know anything about this book, I don't know what it's about. I think it might be queer, but maybe that's just me hoping. I have no idea. I have literally no idea what this is about, so I'm just gonna go into it like that. I'm mostly spurred on to do this in this exact moment because I'm hungry and need to make food, and an audiobook is great for making food, and also I was reading a very dry text, or at least the introduction to a very dry text about bisexuality in the UK in the 1920s, which I hope is going to be great, but there's a lot of players involved in the introduction, and I just needed a break from that. I'm 25 seconds in and I know there's two narrators, so it must be dual perspective. Again, I don't know anything about the plot of this book. I don't know what it's about. I don't even know what genre it is. It was just on my list, so I'm reading it. Alright, after finishing dinner, I can tell you a few things about this book. Firstly, the first main character that you meet is a Syrian-American fellow. He is a closeted trans boy, so we know that he's trans. He thinks of himself as he. However, his grandmother, who he lives with and takes care of, doesn't know that he's trans, so I don't know if there's anybody at this point in his life that knows that. He's also heavily grieving the loss of his mother, who died about 5 years ago. And either she or the grandmother, I honestly can't remember, really liked this artist. And then he finds this journal from this artist, and there's this big overlap between like stories his grandmother has told him and this artist, so I'm interested to see how that weaves together. When I started this, the language was a little bit flowery for me, and I was wondering if I was going to get it, because if something gets too close to sounding like poetry, I just assume that I'm not going to understand it. That's a mental block that I have. That's not the book's fault, but that's just my thoughts. But then it got easier to understand, so hopefully it continues along that route, and hopefully I don't miss too many things and I end up enjoying this. I'm about 3 hours from the end of this audiobook, and largely my thoughts haven't changed too much. I am trying to figure out what the connection between the two stories is. I have some guesses as to what that is, and I am excited that the first character that we're introduced to, who we don't actually know the true name of, although their dead name has been dropped in by other people because other people have not been made aware of the fact that they are not that person, or that they are trans. So they keep using his previous name, just every once in a while, not very often. But I think that he has finally just started to come out to them, so hopefully we'll get a name soon. Yeah, this one is especially poetic in the other character, the past character. And part of me still feels like I might not be intelligent enough for this book. There's a lot of imagery, and a lot of it connects to itself, but I don't know how to feel about it outside of just like, oh yes, there's lots of birds and there's lots of art. Neat. But I am going to try to finish this because I need to have an audiobook read for tomorrow. I finished. This was beautifully written, although in such a way that sometimes I don't think I really understood what was going on, which is fine. It gets definite points for being queer, and all of that storyline was just so lovely to see. Yeah, it was just fine for me. It wasn't like anything really spectacular outside of the fact that I was excited that it was really queer. Hi, I'm at my parents' house. Yesterday, Chad and I drove up island to spend the holidays here with my folks, and we finished Jade City. Finally, we got another hold back from the library. I think I've had it out of the library 3 or 4 times. We finally finished it, and we're not going to continue. We just wanted to finish it for the finishing its sake. We're not really big into the whole political structures and that type of thing, and we thought there was going to be a lot more like cool magical arts, magic stuff. There probably is in the rest of the series, but we don't want to chance having to read the other 2 books just to get that. We should have gotten more of it in this book, is kind of how we feel. I can see why people would really, really enjoy it, but it's just not for me, and that's completely okay. That means I only have 1 more book on this list, and hopefully in the next, 12 days, 13 days left of the year, I will actually get around to reading it. Good morning. I'm about to start reading How Story Works, an elegant guide to the craft of storytelling, and I really like the Little Red Riding Hood emblem on the front of this cover. I think this should be a fun time. This is nonfiction. It's the only nonfiction on this list, I think. I can't remember back to all the books that were on this list, but having watched this far into the vlog, you know. And I'm looking forward to diving into this one and finishing off this list before the new year. So I've been reading How Story Works on and off all day, and I actually finished it in one day because it's just that compelling. There's a lot of really good advice in there, and I really think that the next time I'm feeling like I actually want to write something, I am going to pull this back up and definitely take some tips from it, because it had a lot of really interesting ways of explaining things, and I very much appreciated that. I think this might be my favorite book that I read for this challenge. That means with only a few days to spare in the year, I have finished the 12 challenge for 2022, which in turn means I now need recommendations for books for 2023. Last time I got recommendations from people on Twitter. Twitter is currently a hellscape and dying, so I'm going to take only book recommendations from people that recommend books in the comments of this video. If I get 12 books recommended to me and they are accessible to me, I will do this challenge again. If not, it's one less challenge I don't have to worry about. If you did the 12 challenge this year, let me know how it went. How did it go for you? Did you read all of the books? Let me know all of that down in the comments below. If you didn't do the 12 challenge, let me know about a favorite book that you read this year. On the way down in the comments, if you hit that subscribe button, that would be very nice of you. If you don't feel like leaving a comment but want to make sure that I know you were here, just leave me an emoji or a smiley face if you happen to be on your keyboard. Some people have asked if there's a way to financially support this channel, so I set up a Ko-fi account, which is a digital tipping service. The link for that, as well as many other links, is down below. You can like and share this as you see fit, and I will see you very soon. Bye!